ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरम्। शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। Hari Om, salutations to all. We are seeing the final words of advice. Really speaking, it is the advice for us. Disciple realized the truth. Disciple expressed the state of realization or experience of the disciple to the master. Still the master is giving advice for whom? For us. And he's explaining about the state of realization. So that is what we have been seeing, and we had stopped at 539, where we saw that Chinta Shunyam Adainya Bhaiksham Ashanam Panam Saridvarishu. This person has no anxiety from where the food will come, has no qualms in begging the food. Sometimes no food, and sometimes they just drink the water of the river, Saridvarishu. Swatantrena Nirankusha. They live free, completely independent, nobody can control them, which means that it's not that they live, breaking all rules, and not that they have already gone beyond all that. There is no attachment they have, hence they are free, they are independent. Sthitirabhihi, and they are completely fearless. They'll sleep in the cremation ground. Nidra smashane vane. Vastram kshalana shoshanadi rahitam. They may wear some clothes. Otherwise, the directions are their clothes. Shoshanadi rahitam. Digvastu shayyamahi. The earth, the sky, so they sleep on the earth under that starlit sky. Shayyamahi. Sancharo nigamanta vithishu vidam krida pare brahmani. And they roam. Externally they are in this kind of condition, but internally their abidance is in the oneness. Vedanta is Bheda Anta. This destroys all the Bhedas. So they live in that oneness. Sancharo Nigamanta Vithishu. Vidam. Krida Pare Brahmani. And they revel in that absolute state. Now that continues further. The same chain of thought continues further. Vimanamalam Vyashariram Bhunatya Sheshan Vishayanupasthitan Parechaya Balabadatma Veta Yo Vyaktalingo Ananushakta Bahyaha. Vimanam Alambya. So don't think Vimana means aeroplane here. Vimana meaning no mana. Mana is gone. Body identification not there. Sharira metad. They don't think of the body as I. They know that this is a body. Sharira metad. Bhunakti asheshan vishayan upasthitan. And they may enjoy some sense objects or anything that is presented to them. They are not seeking it. Upasthitan. Parechaya. And that also by desires of other people. What is the state they live in? Balavad Atmaveta. Like a child, not childish. Like a child is a Atmaveta. Child doesn't know when it has to drink milk. Child doesn't know when it has to be put to sleep. The mother takes care of all that. Of course, the child is ignorant, but the state in which the child lives is spontaneity. There is no likes and dislikes. There are no hang-ups, no regret, no anxiety. Moment by moment, one lives in spontaneity. So, Balavat Atmaveta. Yo avyakta lingo ananushakta bahyaha. So, Gurudev has said here in this, with no outward mark, avyakta lingaha. Linga literally means symbol. So externally there may not be any signs of realization. Avyakta lingaha. Ananushakta bahyaha. And has no attachment to anything outside. No attachment to body, no attachment to anything outside. So this is the analogy. That here is a person who enjoys the sense objects which come to him unasked. And people bring. They bring for various reasons. Sometimes they bring because, satkar, or, you go to a spiritual person and you take something and go because they live in aloneness. They don't have, many times the basic things also will not be there. So somebody takes and goes. Some fruits they may take and go, or some clothes or something they may take and go to help that person. So they may take out of satkar, or they may take because sometimes they want some blessing. So they take for that. Or they may take because they want to worship that person. Like in the Upanishads also it is said, Mundaka Upanishad we are doing. So in that it comes. A person who wants fulfillment of desires must worship the realized person, because the realized person has all capacity to bless not only here but hereafter also. Sorry. And even a person who has no desire should worship the realized person so that the person will become realized. So sometimes people take because they want some blessings, or sometimes they have heard, oh, this person loves this type of food. They may take. It may be food, it may be any other thing also. From their past, they must have gathered from some associate or some known person. So unasked, whatever comes, they may enjoy that. But the important point is Vimanam alambya shariram etad. That's the important point. They have no body identification. That is the crux of realization. We are not the body at all. Bhunakti asheshan vishayan upasthitan. Sometimes it may be even things which are unconsumable. Mirabai took the poison. Nothing happened to her. So it may be any such thing. It may be something unconsumable. It may be something good. It may be something which is absolutely has no taste. It can be anything. This person just experiences it. Bhunakti Asheshan. Parechaya is all by people's desires, not by the individual's desire. No, but sometimes individual also asks. Then we have seen earlier that the individual's ego is called Badhita Hankar. The ego functions, but it's not like our ego. For us, the ego is real. For the realized person, there is no reality associated with the ego or with the world. They abide in the self. Like the actor knows that this is only a role, this is not me. The actor very clearly is established in that knowledge, same way. So sometimes they may ask, many of them won't bother also. It depends on many factors, but here it is the understanding given here is parechaya, not swechaya. We have a craving that when we get something, then only we are happy. When we go somewhere, we are happy. When we become something, we are happy. That is swechaya. And if we don't get that, we miss it. And if that desire is very intense, then we feel irritated, frustrated, angry. So our mind works in that way. These people, they get something great. If they don't, doesn't matter. And that also they don't have a desire for it. Parechaya, it comes. Now, parechaya is very nice word here, because parechaya does not apply to only others. Even the desire arising in the mind, if at all it arises, is parecha for this person. Why? Because the person is abiding in the self. In the self, there is no desire, because self is of the nature of purnata. Where there is apurnata, desire will arise. So at the body level also, if some desire is there to eat something or enjoy something, for this person, it is still parechaya. Why? Because I am the sakshi, this is happening in the BMI, not me. So it is parechaya. That is the beauty of Sanskrit words also. Swechaya, parechaya. So one division we can create. Swechaya means my desire. Parecha means other people's desire. That is simple meaning. But what is this my? For the Jivan Mukta, there is no I and mine. The Jivan Mukta says, I am a Sakshi, I am pure consciousness. Whatever else is all other than me. Anatma. So that becomes Parechaya. Please remember, this division also we are doing. For Jivan Mukta, there is no Anatma. For Jivan Mukta, there is one Atma, there is nothing happening. All this is for us. If this person lives in the abidance of the self, and so from self standpoint, everything else is object. So Parechaya it is. Parechaya balavad atmavetta. Like a child, one lives moment by moment in spontaneity, without likes, dislikes, with complete innocence, purity of mind. One lives. Yo avyakta lingo ananushakta bahyaha. So there is no way to find out who is a realized person, because there are no external signs. Linga means that, a symbol, a sign. So if we see smoke, then we infer that there is a fire. So the smoke is the linga for fire. So linga means that. Now, how to know? Even if somebody has taken sannyas, how will one know who this person is realized person? until one associates, stays for some time, or continues to relate with that person, then one may get a glimpse if one is walking the path. If one is not walking the path, one will not even know that. So externally, there are no such signs. Externally, in fact, there may be sometimes they look like any ordinary person, or sometimes they will be completely aloof. The next few verses also describe that, or even the earlier verse which spoke about that. But that doesn't know that there's no proof of realization. They may be in a sadhak avastha also, or sometimes they may be just, the next one says that unmattavad. Sometimes people who have drunk alcohol, they are intoxicated. They also sometimes roam about like that. But there's a difference between realized person and the intoxicated one. The person who has drunken alcoholic. In one there is illumination, the other there is ignorance. But externally they may look same. So how to know externally? It's impossible. Alinga, yo avyakta lingaha. There is no linga, there is no way to know that. External signs are not there. Ananushakta bahyaha, and not attached to anything outside. This is the quality of a realized person. Digambaro va picha sambaro va tvagambaro va pichidambarasthaha unmattavadva picha balavadva pishachavadva picharatyavanyam. Now he says Digambara, one who has space as one's clothes. Dig ambara, directions. Literally, dig means directions. What does that mean? No physical clothes. All the directions as though are clothing this body. Digambarova. Sambarova, or they may wear clothes. Tvagambarovapi, or they may wear some animal skin. Chidambarasthaha, but they are abiding in pure consciousness. Chidambarasthaha. Unmattavadvapi. Now three analogies are given. The realized person is like a intoxicated person, unmattavad, like a child, balavat, pishachavat, ghost. Bhajagovindam Shankaracharya ji gave two analogies. In that he said that Rathyacarpata virachita kantha punya punya vivarjita pantha yogi yoga niyojita chitta ramate bala unmattavad eva. So bala and unmatta, two are given in Bhajagovindam. Here a third one is given. Three. They may be like all the three or any of the three, and they live alone. Charati avanyam. Now what does this mean? So Digambara. Why they wear no clothes? Because body itself is not, there is no identification with the body. Then we wear clothes to cover this body. And then in that also we wear clothes because we have a body identification and cloth identification. That is very strange. We define ourselves by the type of clothes we wear. How funny is that? Body itself is not ours. Body itself is a cloth, so to say. To cover that cloth, another cloth. And then define oneself through that cloth. Wow. This is delusion, Maha delusion. No? Some brand of clothes and some fashion statement we make through that. How many fashion shows and all that they keep happening. I always keep wondering for what is that? I'm ignorant about that, so I don't know. Why are they walking like that? What type of clothes are they wearing in daily life? Who wears such type of clothes? But I don't know what they do with that. I don't want, I have no desire to know also. I keep feeling amused if I see sometimes I say, wow, some fashion is going on. Big brands, and how many people are sitting there, and lakhs of rupees it costs. And then when somebody buys that and then they wear it, they'll say, I'm wearing Satya Paul, I'm wearing this, I'm wearing that, something they say. They feel very good about it. I'm not saying don't do any of that. I'm just saying that from spiritual standpoint, it seems very strange. Why should I define myself with the clothes that I'm wearing, with the type of external accessory? It's just a covering. Even today, there are so many people who are living in so many tribal areas, no clothes, Digambara. So it is not about having cloth or not having cloth. It is about the internal attitude about who am I. If I think I am the body, then I am deluded. I have left the infinite reality and I'm thinking I am this body. In the Jain Munis, there is a whole sect, Shwetambar and Digambar. Shwetambar will wear white clothes, Shweta Ambar. Digambar, no clothes. It is our conditioning. Society's conditioning also it is. And there may be certain norms created in the society to uh, live in a certain peace and certain harmony and certain order, arrangement, all that. It has its own place. Nobody says, don't wear clothes. But the point is, why should I define myself through that? That is not required. It is there, it is there. But many times one works hard to get that and then feel it. Oh, I'm wearing this, so great, so nice, wonderful. In school, we used to feel like that. Birthday boy or girl, they will wear colored dress and come. Everybody else will be in uniform. One feels very nice. I'm wearing colored dress. Childhood, all that is there, it goes on. But same thing continues in adulthood. What is the difference then? New clothes, new things. By that, do I become new? The body becoming older and older. That is the funniest part. Body becoming older and older. I may wear clothes which are new and I may feel, oh, this is new. What is new? Body is becoming very, very old. It is going to die one day. By itself, it is anyway dead. Chaitanya Swarup Atma alone enlivens it. You may say, Swamiji, you are becoming a spoiler. All festivals are coming. We are going to do Diwali shopping and buy new clothes. Now you're spoiling it all for us. I am not trying to be a spoiler. And if I am a spoiler, no problem. My job is only that, to spoil, destroy all wrong notions. Enjoy after that. That is true enjoyment. So whether you shop, you don't shop, doesn't matter. You may wear new clothes also. There's no problem with that. But that is not me. That is the clarity one must have. The clothes can't define me. The body itself can't define me. The mind can't define me. Thoughts can't define me. Then who am I? Pure consciousness. Chidambarasthaha. That is the important part. So you will see, in Shravan Belagola, if you go, the huge statue of Bahubali is there. Digambara. Now these Digambara, these great masters who are Digambara, for us we have Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. 6 vikaras we have. Our body responds to all these six. Their body doesn't respond because the identification is gone beyond the body. And that is the tapasya that they have done. And really speaking, after some time, how much one will take care of this body? We saw in earlier shlokas when we spoke about Vivek Vairagya, that time itself we spoke about it. That what is this body? Panchakosha Vivek, when we did, we saw in that. Tvagasthi Mamsa Meda Majja, all that. This body is a bundle of all that. We come without clothes and we go also without clothes. That is a fact. Then in between we wear clothes for a certain reason. There is no issue. Wear it. But how can we define ourselves with that? That is the delusion. So there are Mahatmas who live Digambara, no clothes. That shows their victory over the body identification. Dehatma Bhav is not there. Jivatma Bhav also is not there. Because if Jivatma Bhav is there, then Dehatma Bhav is going to be there. When we were small children, we used to wonder because we are taught that you should wear clothes. If you don't wear clothes, then people make fun of you. And then we used to wonder, are they are worshipping? This person has no clothes. Then the elders used to tell us, no, they are not wearing clothes because they have risen above body identification. They have done tapasya. We are small children, where we will understand that. But that samskara has gone inside. Oh, there is a state like that where they don't think of themselves as body at all. And so 6 vikaras don't affect them. And they ever remain blissful. So you see the faces of most of them will be very calm, serene, absorbed in the absolute. It will be like that. Digambara. And the funny part is this. When we say Digambara, our attention goes to the body of the Digambara. The objective of that Digambara Mahatma is to take us away from the body identification. That is their objective, and that they have anyway done their sadhana. They are reveling in that bodiless awareness, that state. Our attention still goes to their body. What is their height? What is the skin color? How do they look? That is called Maya. How the Maya doesn't allow the vision to shift from body to something beyond. Many times we are small, we are ignorant, we don't know, so that is, it happens. But many times we know, still the attention goes to the body. So one has to be alert. Digambarova. Sambarova. They may wear clothes also. Gurudev used to wear sometimes silk clothes, sometimes cotton, and his style of wearing also is so many times very different. There is no standard way in which he will wear the dhoti. Sometimes there is dhoti and kurta, sometimes there is dhoti, there is angavastram, and sometimes there is only the dhoti, there is nothing on the top. You see, so whether they wear clothes, they don't wear clothes, or they wear the clothes differently, doesn't matter. Tvagambarova. Earlier days when people used to live in the forests, the animal which is dead, they will take the skin of that and then they use that to cover themselves. Or like Bhagwan Ram, he wore the Valkal Vastra and he went. Bark of a tree. See, we see in the serials, there's proper clothes, but orange color clothes they will have. That is not called Valkal Vastra. The bark of a tree, try using bark of a tree and wear it. It will poke. And when it reacts with the skin and the sweat, Not very easy. Those type of clothes, that is called Valkal Vastra. 14 years to live in those type of clothes, not a joke. So it can be any of that. Digambara, Sambara, Twagambara. But what is important? Chidambarasthaha. The abidance is in the consciousness. Chit Ambara. Chit Ambara means space. Chit is consciousness. Ambara is space or sky. But what it means is they are abiding in that pure consciousness. No form. That is called Chit Ambara. No attachment to form, only realized, only abidance in that formless consciousness. Chidambarasthaha. Unmattavad vapi. They are unmattavad, intoxicated. By what? The bliss of the divine. So intoxicated person lives in their own world. This example has come earlier also. The intoxicated person lives in their own world. They are oblivious to what is happening around. Of course, each of them have only a certain relevance to the analogy. We can't equate them exactly because nobody is equal to a realized person. So all the three examples, Unmattavat, Balavat, Pishachavat, all the three are by themselves ignorant. Here is a person who is realized. The part of the analogy which is to be picked up is that here is somebody who is abiding in that self, and so the way in which this person experiences and perceives the world is completely different from us. That's why that example of the Gita, the world to which these great people are awake, we are asleep to that world as though. Because our mind is extroverted and their mind is abiding in the state of realization. So obviously there is no match, there is no connection. So they live as though reveling in their own world, and we live in this same world here, so much of misery, sorrow, anxiety, and they live in the same world here, but they are reveling in bliss. Like the drunkard experiences something else only. They may experience the world outside, but their experience of the world outside is different from a sober person's experience. Like that. Unmattavat. Then Balavat we already saw. And then Pishachavat. Pishachavat means in a fearless state and aloof. Charati avanyam. Pishachavat. So this ghost lives aloof. Sometimes on some tree, sometimes in some cave. It will be aloof. Oh, but Swamiji, ghosts exist? I thought it is a mithya. It is a myth. They are not real. Vedanta doesn't deny ghosts. Vedanta says ghosts exist. They are disembodied beings, that's all. They are not, it is not some fancy story cooked up by people. It is not. You can listen to so many people who have had near-death experiences. They will tell you. When the body was lying there, they were seeing it from the top. Many things they will explain. Light at the end of the tunnel, all that they will explain. So what is that state? Astral state. Transition state it is. From this body to the next. In between is the Preta Avastha. Preta literally means one who has departed. Preta. So three words are used generally. Bhuta, Preta, Pishacha. Literally the meaning of the word Bhuta means one who is born. So the body is made up of Pancha Mahabhuta. So we all are Bhuta, being. A Bhuta means a being. We use the word Bhuta as meaning ghost. That is that one meaning. If you want to derive, one can derive, because that ghost body is predominantly air oriented. Our body is earth oriented predominantly. Devata's body is light oriented. That's why they are called Deva. So, for the Bhuta, the way we say Bhut is ghost, that is because we think of Bhut as different from us, because they have an air oriented body, we have a physical body, so our body is more grosser, their body is more subtler. But literally the word Bhuta means just which is born, which has been born, Bhuta. Preta means departed, eti, to go. Who has dropped the body and who is ejected out of the body is called Preta. And Pishacha, wandering Preta, who is stuck for some desire or some regret or some reason. Person is stuck, that jiva is not willing to let go. Bhuta, Preta, Pishacha. So here Pishacha means what? Pishacha is never afraid of anybody. People are afraid of Pishacha. So that is the meaning. And Pishacha does not generally stay with people, stays aloof somewhere, lonely. That is the limitation of the analogy. Here it is not to say lonely, but here it is to say that person lives in a state where the body identification of this person is gone, departed. And the person is fearless. Gurudev has explained that, I think. A man of realization may live like a ghost. Renouncing society, he may live all alone in a dark cave. If anyone happens to enter the cave, he will suddenly come out and disappear behind the trees in the jungle. Everybody is afraid of a ghost, but no ghost is known to have been afraid of anyone. So that's the meaning. Fearless and aloof. So this is another verse to explain their state. Kaman nishkama rupi san charatyekacharo munihi स्वात्मनैव सदा तुष्टः स्वयं सर्वात्मना स्थितः. Kaman nishkama rupi san. The person enjoys sense objects though being free from desires. Nishkama rupi. Sanscharati, enjoys. Ekacharo munihi, may live alone. Swatmanaiva sadatushtaha, established and satisfied by one's own self. Swayam sarvatmana sthitaha, by oneself as though one is living everywhere, in all ways. Swayam sarvatmana sthitaha, meaning the same self in me is the self in all. That is sarvatma bhav. So again a simple verse. Though one may enjoy some sense objects, but the person has desireless desires. That's what Gurudev has said. Kaman nishkama rupi san. A man of perfection entertains desire, but with a difference. He entertains desireless desires. What is desireless desires? No personal agenda, personal ambition, or personal what we call as dependence on fulfillment of the desire for one's happiness. But still there is a desire. It may be Loka Sangraha, for the welfare of the people. It may be Ishwar Ichha. It can be either or both. The personal agenda of this person is finished because ego is gone. So, Kaman Nishkama Rupi San Sancharati. Ekacharo Munihi. And this person is alone. Now, this alone does not mean only physically alone. The person may be physically alone, but alone really here means the experience of that person, in that there is no duality. That is one meaning. That's the highest state, that all duality is gone. Second meaning of ekacharo is that such people are very rare. When in the Gita, what it is said, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatate siddhaye. In thousands of beings, some one rare individual chooses this path. Even in those who choose the path, not everybody walks steadily. One may get distracted, one may drop the seeking. Yatataamapi siddhanam kaschin mam veti tattvataha. Some rarest of the rare individual will come to know the truth. How many such people will be there? So, what they are reveling in, that itself is the highest state. By themselves, even as realized beings, they are alone in that sense. Few people will be there. You can count them on the tip of your fingers in the whole world who are realized. So, ekacharo munihi. Swatmanaiva sadatushtaha. They are content by the self itself. There is nothing more. We need something from outside to satisfy us. They don't need anything. Swatmanaiva sadatushtaha. Because it is in fact our delusion. We think happiness comes from outside. This person knows that there is no happiness outside. Forget Atma, Atma's Ananda. The pleasure that we enjoy also is inside only. It is not coming from outside. No, Swamiji, when we eat that donut, no, it is coming from donut. Nothing. It doesn't come from donut. It comes only from a mind which is peaceful. If the mind is disturbed, what donut one will eat? What enjoyment? Nothing. No enjoyment. One may just eat it. One may not even feel the taste because the mind is disturbed. So from where it came? It came from inside. The pleasure came from inside, or the pain also came from inside only. There is nothing outside. But we think it is outside, so we run. That's another conditioning we have been brought up with. It is outside, outside, outside. You get that, then you will be happy. Your life will be most beautiful when you own this TV. And this sale, different people, they keep doing sale. Grand sale next 3 days. Now the online sales happen. Festival, sale festival, big. So one will be tempted and prompted to buy this, buy that. Your life will become better with this. Some convenience it will bring, there is no doubt. But happiness doesn't come from anything. Because the same thing becomes the cause of my sorrow. From where it came then? It never came from outside. It is from inside. It is my association with it. So even at mind level, the pleasure that we experience, the pain that we experience is all actually coming only from the mind. There's nothing out there. It is just Jada Vastu. How will it give pleasure or pain? It is our conditioning. So here is somebody who is reveling in the bliss of the self within. Swatmani eva sadatushtaha. Swatmana eva sadatushtaha. Swayam sarvatmana sthitaha. And one does not think I am only this one body. There is sarvatma bhav. That everything is an expression of the divine. So they serve, and even if they don't serve the way we think service should happen, they are reveling in that sarvatma bhav, even if they are not doing anything outside. They may be just sitting quietly. But their attitude is, all this is me alone, no difference. That is called sarvatma bhav. Now come certain examples to say that the state of this person is indescribable. Many contrary things come now, you see. Kvachin mudho, sorry, the tune is different. Kvachin mudho vidwan, kvachidapi maharaja vibhavaha, kvachid bhranta saumyaha, kvachid ajagarachara kalitaha. क्वचित् पात्रीभूत क्वचिदवमतः क्वाप्यविदितः चरत्येवं प्राज्ञः सतत परमानन्दसुखितः. Kvachin mudho, sometimes like a fool. Vidwan kwapi. Sometimes one is like a wise person. Kvachidapi maharaja vibhavaha. Or sometimes living in grandeur. Maharaja vibhava. Kvachit bhranta, sometimes deluded. Saumyaha. So bhranta can also mean roaming. Saumya, peaceful. Sometimes ajagarachara kalitaha, like an ajgar, like python, who is lying down. Kvachit patri bhutaha. Sometimes with a very divine expression. Kvachit avamataha. Sometimes respected. Kvapi aviditaha. Sometimes insulted also. Avamataha is insulted. Patri bhutaha is respected, well known, peaceful. That. Avamataha is insulted and aviditaha is unknown. Nobody knows also. Here is somebody who is realized. Charati evam prajnaha. In this way, this person, wise person, walks. Satata paramananda sukhitaha. Constantly reveling in that state of bliss. Now, how can there be all this? So let us see. Kvachin mudha. Sometimes they appear completely like fool. Hastamalaka was like that. From his childhood, he has not spoken a word. And he'll act like a madman. Parents got worried ki what has happened to our child. He is not speaking. Some children speak early, some children speak at the right time, some children don't speak, but in some time the delay is there, or some people have defective speech, all that, So, but this boy has not spoken at all. And he acts like a madman. Rolls in the sand. Sometimes he's just laughing. So they wonder what happened to this boy. And they tried all kinds of vaidya and all kinds of upchara they tried to do, but this, no solution, is same. Then they took him to Adi Shankaracharya ji, who was passing by that village. And Adi Shankaracharya ji asked him, who are you? Simple question he asked him. Beautiful question. Kastvam Shisho. Oh child, who are you? Kasya, to whom do you belong? Kutosi Ganta, where are you going? Kim Nama Petvam, what is your name? Kuta Agatosi, from where you came? And in reply to that, this person is spoken for the first time. And what is his reply? That is the Hastamalaka Stotram. न ब्राह्मण क्षत्रिय वैश्य शूद्र भिक्षुर्न चाहम निज बोध रूप नाहम मनुष्यो न च देव यक्ष न ब्राह्मण क्षत्रिय वैश्य शूद्र. I am not a deva, I am not a yaksha, I am not a brahmana, I am not a kshatriya, not vaishya, not shudra, not sannyasi. Bhikshurna chaham nija bodha rupa. My nature is pure consciousness alone. Now, I am not saying every madman will be like this, but sometimes they are like this, reveling in that state of absolute bliss. They don't bother about the world, the society, the norms, any of that. Reveling in that absolute bliss. Now just think, earlier we saw that example of alcoholic. Little alcohol somebody drinks and they get a high and then they don't bother about the world. Here is somebody who is reveling in the absolute bliss. What is that state? So they may act like a madman also. And the best part is such people we call as mad. And we are actually mad because we don't know who we are. That person is really called a mad person who doesn't know who one is and behaves something else, thinking that is the reality. Now that we are mad people, but what has happened? All the mad people have come together to decide that this is the sane condition. And the realized man is branded as mad fellow. That is a strange thing. In the mental asylum, the lunatic asylum, all the patients have come together to decide that this is sanity, and the doctor is an odd man out. That fellow is gone mad. That is how what we have done. So Kvachin Mudaha, sometimes they are deluded. Or Vidwan, very wise and scholarly. So many great masters like that. Shankaracharya ji, Vidyaranya Swami, many Vivekanand ji, like that. There are so many very scholarly. Tapovan Maharaj, Vidwan, who have studied the Shastra, who have understood the depth, who have clarified the contradictions. Vidwan. Realization of both of them is the same, huh? Not that Vidwan has some extra realization and this person who is behaving like a Mudha has less realization. No, it's the same. Kvachin Mudho or Vidwan. Kvachidapi Maharaja Vibhavaha. Or they may live in royal grandeur. Not necessarily always they will be only alone, living in forest, away from society. No rules can bind this person. Based on past karma of the BMI or the good of the society, some karan may be there for which their state externally is different, like Janak Maharaj, king of Mithila, or Ambarish Raja, or Ashwapati. Like that, there are so many kings who are realized people. But so if they are realized, then why are they living in the kingdom? Why not? Nothing more to achieve. And some karma is there, they are living, and that their identification is not whether they live in the palace or they don't live in the palace. They are not attached to any of that. Maharaja Vibhava. Tapovan Maharaj had only 4 pairs of clothes. You see, we'll just see one clip. Gurudev only speaks about that. Very nice one.
Life, when it is present in any living organism, has to express in terms of activities. So, Deha Bhudam na shakyam. It can never live. Life, when it is present in any living organism, has to express in terms of activities. So, Deha Bhudam na shakyam. The embodied can never live. Jaktum karmanya shayashvataha. With rejecting and renouncing all activities, you cannot remain. Then what do you mean to say, renounce, give up? Give up what? Not work. Yastu karma bhalatyagi. Those who are giving up, what is to be given up? Karma bhalatyagi. Those who are giving up all anxieties to enjoy the fruits, good or bad, of the act. Satyagitya vidhirya, such an individual is called a renouncer. Not a renouncer, right? Abandoner, one who has given up. So it is absurd to say that I give up everything and only a langoti, an underwear. I move about. Why? Renounce everything. You have renounced nothing. There are in India, there are very many Mahatmas, especially Ramakut, a set of Mahatmas, who have only an underwear, a langot, nothing else. Or there are Shaivites who have got only one bag of vibhuti, ashes, which they generally hang on the shoulders. Inside that, there may be sometimes 10,000 rupees worth of 100 rupee notes. Supposing the bag is not there, in the langot, there will. So ye tyaga is only external show. He is a hypocrite. It is not that you should not have the world outside. You may have properties and houses and wives and children, business running. Because of those paraphernalia around you of luxury and goodness, doesn't mean that you are not a tyagi. One who has renounced everything, sitting in the cave, the Himalayas, or under a tree. But the fellow can be the greatest materialist, sensualist, because his thoughts are about. So tyaga is an adjustment not outside you. It is a mental evaluation. All of you are Mahaparam Tyagis, renouncers. You have given up everything. What? Toys. Which toy you want? Have you ever thought of, if only I can get a car like that? It goes in the drawing room ground, I can, 2-3 marbles. Think you have no more any taste for it because you have grown up. Similarly, an individual who has no more any desire to be fulfilled by your efforts in the world outside, in the field of action. Karma bhala tyagi, satyagi tyabhidire, he is called a tyagi. And that is the reason why we find that great, perfect men like Krishna and Rama, they have lived in luxurious palaces with silken robe and golden, ornaments around the princes. And then you say that he is the perfect man. Perfection doesn't mean that you must have only a frock and a, shepherd's stick. That also is. Swami Tapobanji Maharaj was like that. Only 3, it is jhulas. Jhulas means frock-like thing, from neck to the knee, to the ankles. There's 3 of them. A 4th one he will not allow. And the 3, one of them had broken down and torn. He tries to stitch it. But if the stitched one is trying to use it, we generally take it and disappear. It has gone. While washing in the Ganges, it flew away. What can we do? Then he will allow us to make another one. Only 3. I think I have got 300. I mean, see the difference? What difference? Whether he has no attachment with the 3, I have no attachment with the 300. What does it matter? Kitna, how many are there? It doesn't matter. It is your. If your mind is sleepless because what happened to that 25th shirt? I don't know where I left it. Don't think that it is an exaggeration. Ask the ladies. The 25th sari missing. I don't know where I left it. Because attached. Once thus the mind is detached from these little toys of life, such an individual is a tyagi.
So that was Gurudev explaining about Tyaga. And he explained, Maharaja Vibhava, Rama and Krishna also lived like that. Janak Maharaj, all of them. So it has nothing to do with outside. It is more about internal aspect. Kvachit bhrantaha. They may appear to be bhranta here actually is to move, continuously to move about, not deluded, but they may sometimes appear also as deluded. Or they may do a leela that they don't know. That also is possible. But here it is in the meaning of moving. Kvachit bhrantaha saumyaha, peaceful. Kvachit ajagara chara kalitaha. They may just lie like a python, looking as though they are completely tamasic. Will not even put the effort to get the food. If it comes, okay, doesn't come, doesn't matter, will not put any effort. Sometimes they even don't do the basic taking care of the body also. No taking bath, no brushing teeth, nothing. So we may think, Arey, what heights of laziness is this? That is, in one meaning, that is udasina. They become completely indifferent to the body because they see the body as a bundle of just some flesh and bones. They are reveling in a higher state. Or they are seeing everything as Brahman, so it doesn't make any difference to them. They are reveling in that higher bliss. Either ways, whichever way one wants to take it. So Ajagara Achara Kalitaha. They are like Ajagara, python, for days on end. In Vadodara, there was one Mahatma like that. He used to be in the room for days together, months together. Nobody, no food supply, nothing, but he's there. How does their body sustain? Remember what we said earlier. Prarabdham pushyati vapuhu. That came in Vivek Chudamani earlier. Prarabdha takes care of the body somehow. And sometimes physical body is subject to loss of nature. It may go through some deterioration, decay, or any such disease also, but they are not bothered. Ajagarachara kalita. Kvachit patri bhutaha. Some places they are respected a lot, glorified. Kvachit avamataha. And they are sometimes insulted also because people don't understand who they are, and especially some of them, when they share the knowledge, then they break the conditionings of the society. So the people will try to accuse them, provoke them, disrespect them, dishonor them. They may do any of that. Because so many saints like Narayan Guru or Kabir Das ji, even our Gurudev, they spoke very clearly against so many wrong practices and to bring about a certain deeper aspect about dharma in lives of people. So people criticize them. It doesn't bother them. Whether they are praised or criticized, no botheration. UN certification doesn't make Gurudev feel any elated, nor criticism by any of the Pandits or even a Shankaracharya of a particular matha doesn't bother. So they are respected sometimes, they are criticized, avamataha, kvapi aviditaha, and sometimes they are just not known at all. Silently somewhere they are there. Nobody knows about their existence. No need, they don't run behind popularity. They are reveling in the bliss. So, charati evam prajnaha. In this way, this wise person moves about in the world, satata paramananda sukhitaha, constantly reveling in the supreme bliss. So for today, we will stop here and continue tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.